kid. This is the way.
I want to move on to the first big part of my stream, and that is my review for The Mandalorian, Season 3, Episode 6, Chapter 22.77, Guns for Hire. I've been reviewing this season since Episode 1, and, overall, chat, I always kind of open up with my overall thoughts so far in the season. I've been disappointed. I'm disappointed. Not to say that there haven't been like cool moments or highlights, of the series. Or even the previous episode, Episode 5, I thought that was the strongest episode. I thought that was the most fun. The pirate or the pirate lord, whatever it's called, where we get a lot of action scenes. We have the return of some supporting characters. Everyone's working in tandem with each other. Get some good Mandalorian action chat. Get some nice space battles. It's eye candy. It's eye candy. It's cotton candy. Not a lot of not a big narrative through line, I would say, but it's entertaining to watch. Like, oh, that was fun, but you kind of forget about it after a while. But it's kind of been the big highlight, I think, of this season so far, because my biggest criticism of Mandalorian Season 3 is that I feel like there is just no main plot. There's no thorough line that we've been following. I mean, I can kind of have a sense of it now, maybe even with this episode, which we'll get into, but it's like, listen, and we said this, I was talking about this, before we started this review, and you guys have been saying it, if you only have 8 episodes for a show, right? Not even the double digits, then there is no excuse for filler. You should not have filler episodes. And yet, Star Wars, a lot of the Star Wars, not all of them. I think, Andor is an exception. No doubt about that. And maybe you can even say some previous episodes of Mandalorian Season 1, Season 2. Although even though they do have some filler. But it just feels more so in this particular season. But yeah, a lot of filler both in Book of Boba Fett and Obi-Wan Kenobi. And all those have limited number of episodes. I don't think any of those have 10 episodes. I think they're all like 8 or less than that. I think Obi-Wan had 6 and they had filler episodes. But if you have a limited number of episodes, then you should be concentrating on 3 things. And I think it's very simple. Your main story, your characters and the character development, and the world building, the lore. That's what you should be focusing on. And so we should not be going off on side adventures and then only in the last 5 minutes going back to the main plot and going like, oh yeah, now we can go back to the main plot, and just wrapping all that stuff up like it was nothing. It's like, that to me is really, really frustrating. And that's what this episode encompasses my entire issue with this season. It is superfluous. It is unnecessary. It feels inauthentic, manufactured, plastic. It just like, why are we here? Like, this whole episode is geared around celebrity cameos, and unnecessary mystery with an obvious twist based on the celebrity cameos themselves. So, well, it has to be one of these 3 celebrity cameos that's behind everything of this mystery, set on this opulent world, which is straight out of the prequels, and where you have these droids, these prequel-era droids, like the battle droids, remember them, chat? Like the B-1s and the super battle droids that are malfunctioning and running amok, and one of these celebrity cameos is behind it, Chad. And it's like, well, it's probably not those 2, so it's probably this guy right here. And in this 45-minute episode, you really only have 5 minutes of any actual plot development. And at that point, it's like, you have that is no excuse. That is ridiculous to me. That you just wasted my time, because really what they wanted to do, they wanted to show off that, hey, For this episode, we have Jack Black, who I like Jack Black. I like Jack Black in a lot of things. He's made some bad movies, yes, but he's done a lot of great content. I've sung his praises for, obviously, School of Rock and Bernie, which I think is a super underrated movie. He's a talented man. I'm actually looking forward to seeing him in the Super Mario Bros. Movie as Bowser. Christopher Lloyd, who has had a long career, Chad, of appearing in amazing dramas like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and all the way, up to like the Back to the Future trilogy, okay? But then we also have Lizzo, who listen, I know relatively little about Lizzo. I know that she is a singer, she's a musician, she's a songwriter, okay? Now, I looked this up. This apparently is her first role ever. And you can tell because she is awful in this episode, chat, in which her and Jack Black, who are like this, they're royals, but they were democratically elected to rule their planet, have basically, they are a roadblock between the main plot of this show, in which Bo-Katan and Din Djarin, who is very much in Baby Yoda, those two are just relegated to be tertiary characters in their own series. They are forced to solve this mystery of the droids in order for them to be able to talk to Bo-Katan's former Mandalorian compatriots. And they go on this mystery in which the culprit is obvious based on the celebrity cameos. And then it's kind of all wrapped up. But we have to just endure these unnecessary scenes and gags and Jack Black doing what, basically Jack Black having carte blanche to be, goofy and lording over his wife, and Lizzo literally feels like she's reading cue cards, and really what it is, it's her playing with Baby Yoda. That's the reason why she's like, there's literally scenes because Baby Yoda, and this is point Baby Yoda is like he serves no point to the plot because he's here to be cute, he's here to eat food, and he's here to help Lizzo play her roly-poly potato bug game. That's the only thing I can describe it, chat. And apparently, when you do that, you become the knight of a planet if you help Lizzo cheat in a roly-poly potato bug game. You're like, you're knighted, you did a great job. It's like, that's all he's there for now. I've known that for a long time, but it's just like, wow, you're making this so painfully obvious here. Get rid of him. I don't want to see him again. I really liked him. I thought he was adorable in season 1, season 2. But yes, he's cute and did all these nice little scenes, but he had relevance to the plot. It was about this man who made this promise to protect this child and bring him back to his people, and he did that, and now he's back, and it's just like, you don't know what you're doing with him, because he feels superfluous to the main story, such as it is. It doesn't really have a main story. We occasionally go back to the main story. Also, this episode opens up with something I just never wanted to see is just fish people making out. And listen, I like the designs for Mon Calamari, Admiral Akbar, and the Quarrens, but I don't want to see these guys start stupping each other. All right, I don't want to see them get into sexual relations. I know, and then after that scene, it sets up something with the Mandalorians and Bo-Katan's former compatriots. But it's like, I don't really need to see this. Okay, I don't need to see this romance here. It's like, oh, this is gonna be a goofy one, and it is goofy. It is so goofy, but it's just so focused on these unnecessary celebrity cameos and this side story that it has no relevance. It has no relevance to, I guess, what the main plot is now. We assume, I'm assuming maybe, is that it's about reclaiming Mandalore. But before we have to do that, we have to go on this crazy adventure with Jack Black and Lizzo, who cannot act in any capacity, and Christopher Lloyd, who, well, based on everything I said, Shay, you could kind of figure out, who the bad guy is by the end of this episode. It is, it's terrible. It is terrible. But when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, other than just being not even focused on the main story, Din Djarin and Baby Yoda, the Mandalorian Baby Yoda Grogu, they serve no purpose this season. Other than the fact that they know certain people in which Bo-Katan then has to interact with, and then she's the one thing. I really like Katie Sackhoff. She's the one consistent thing so far in this show, other than some of the action scenes, which I think have been fun. But she is the one character that I think has consistently been good. Even she seems frustrated in some scenes in this episode. She's like, I just want to do this thing. I'm like, me too, Bo-Katan. Me too, Katie Sackhoff. But she's the one that has any narrative trajectory. Din Djarin just feels like, I'll help you out, I guess. And Baby Yoda's just being cute with Lizzo. they're just kind of. I mean, Baby Yoda's a gimmick, but Din Djarin he's not the Mandalorian. Even by the way, this was so confusing. So I don't know. I'll get into spoilers here. I don't think it's that big of a deal. But you remember everything with the Darksaber? How like, okay, whoever holds the Darksaber, you are then the rightful ruler of Mandalore because you defeated someone in combat. So apparently, and I completely forgot about that. I was like, wait, what? I guess Bo-Katan now has the Darksaber. Because in a previous episode, and actually, I mean, I liked the episode. I liked because they had that creepy guy. Remember that creepy thing that attacked Din? That attacked the Mandalorian, the bowels of Mandalore, and it defeated him, and it, like, had the Darksabers, like, just kind of threw it over its shoulder because they didn't care. Well, I guess when Bo rescued him, then she saved his life, and she defeated the monster. She now has the Darksaber. They did not make that clear in that episode at all. And I was like, why are they bringing this up again? That's like really specific detail in like the opening. And then at the end of the episode, it's like, oh yeah, man, Dan's like, oh yeah, she defeated the monster, and so she rules it. And it's like that undercuts. Like I thought what was going to be an interesting conflict between. That's what I thought maybe they were building towards. Because I'm like, all right, remember the end of season 2 when Moff Gideon, Giancarlo Esposito's character, he's pointing at Din Djarin, you defeat me in single combat. You have the right to rule Mandalore now based on you owning the Darksaber. He's like, I don't want to rule Mandalore. And he's like, well, too bad. And the only way he's like, I want to give it to Bo-Katan. He's like, you can't. That's not how it works. You got to defeat that person in combat, right? And you could see like Bo-Katan looking, and she's like, no, I want to rule Mandalore. And I was like, oh, this is going to be interesting because it's going to set up a conflict between these two characters. And I thought, you know what? Because we're spending so much time with them in season 3, there's going to be like a shocking moment where maybe Bo betrays him or they have to fight one or something like that. And it's like, no, he's just like, oh yeah, this monster thing, this crab monster, it captured me, it'll suck it out my fluids and my juice. And then she came and saved me and my juice and my fluids. And she owns the thing. And everyone's like, all right. And they leave, and that's it. And I'm like, what? And, but we had to focus on Lizzo barely being able to act. That took precedence. So, yeah, this is definitely the worst episode so far of the season, no question. And probably the worst one in season 2. And yeah, I mean, I think in season 1. I mean, season 1 definitely had a couple episodes which I'm like, I didn't particularly care for. I was like, that was good. That was mixed on that. I think this one's definitely the weakest. I really disliked it. Yeah, and again, there's no excuse. If you only have 8 episodes and you have what seemingly feels like multiple episodes that are just filler, then, well, one, if you're going to have filler episodes and you got to expand that episode count and you got to really focus on the plot, and they're not doing that. And I'm guessing maybe in the next 2 episodes they will do, because that's it. That's the end of the show, chat. We only have 2 more episodes left. All right? And wait, how long did we wait for this season? 2 years? When did season 2 end? Because we got Boba Fett afterwards, and we had Obi-Wan, and we had Andor, and so I feel like it's definitely, they took a break, and I was like, this is it. And I think, man, I'll tell you, there is, I mean, I've said this for a long time. There are a lot of things wrong at Lucasfilm and a lot of things wrong with the Star Wars property right now. And I think there are people in charge who shouldn't be in charge. Kathleen Kennedy, namely number 1, obviously. They got to get her out of there. But, you hear all the behind the scenes, rumors, but you hear that Jon Favreau, he had a lot of issues with Kathleen Kennedy in the direction of this season. And he was forced to include Baby Yoda when that wasn't originally the plan and everything. And so even the way in which he was brought back, it was in another person's show, and that distracted from that person's show, Boba Fett. And so it's like everything just feels, again, nothing feels like it has a thorough line. Everything feels inauthentic. It feels like it's all about merchandising. That's I know at the end of the day you want to make money. That's all it is. But at least have a competent story. In this season, they don't have that. And it's really frustrating. It's really frustrating because I like the first 2 seasons of The Mandalorian a lot. But this one, it is such a huge departure from the quality of those first 2 seasons, especially when it comes to the storytelling and the characters. Like your main character literally serves barely a purpose in it. And so at this point, I'm like, I don't know. Move on or end this show. Because if they're already saying like, yeah, I guess we have 5 seasons planned, but we don't really know how we're going to end this. And I'm like, yeah, I can kind of tell. You can tell. So yeah, Yeah, this was very disappointing, chat. I did not like it at all. It was just distracting, and it just felt so corporate. And again, just inauthentic. But that's my opinions on The Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 6, Chapter 22. God damn, these titles are long. Guns for Hire. What about you guys? What did you think of the episode? I hope everyone enjoyed the film review, and I want to take the time to tell you about the movie of the week, a film that I really enjoy and one that I think you will too. This week's movie is Scream, just in time for the release of Scream 6. Scream is directed by Wes Craven and written by Kevin Williamson. A year after the murder of her mother, a teenage girl is terrorized by a killer who targets the girl and her friends by using horror films as part of a deadly game. If anyone is interested in purchasing this fantastic film, please make use of the Amazon affiliate link below in the video description. Your subsequent purchase of the film not only earns me a helpful commission, but any purchase you may make after clicking on the link itself for 24 hours would help earn me additional commissions as well. Doesn't matter if it's a Blu-ray, a video game, a pair of socks, or a washing machine, everything within 24 hours of that click can really help the channel. So go ahead and check out the film, enjoy browsing and shopping. Lizzo and Jack Black are there to be joke characters. That's what they're there for. Bill Burr's like, I have Count Dooku was right. yes. Hashtag Count Dooku. That's the thing with Christopher Lloyd. He's like, Count Dooku was right. I'm like, whoa, wait, what? So, we'll see. That I thought was fun. I was like, oh my God. Yeah, Count Dooku. Oh, if only he knew.